Al-Bukhari gives a hadith that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is reported to have said, Allah has not sent down any sickness, but He has sent down the remedy for it. Now, when that hadith is discussed, often it will talk about physical sickness. But when I heard this, the first thing that I thought of is anything that we go through here in this life. And this life, this earth life, is both gloriously healing and extremely dangerous at the very same time, and sometimes by the very same thing. And I often think of the symbolism of the snake, which is used. The prophet Moses raised a staff upon which there was a snake, and that staff had the power to heal the people if they would. All they had to do was look upon it. And I find that interesting because it kind of corresponds with the serpent that we found in the garden. And I take all of these things very symbolically. But in the garden, the serpent is a testing device. And some would say it's evil. I don't really look at it that way, but it's definitely a testing device. And I find it interesting, again, that correspondence of the healing and the sickness and the remedy on the same pole. And again, that comes down to what we're doing here on this planet. And, it's not that people are not going to get their heart broken. Everybody gets their heart broken, and everyone is challenged. But how do you meet those challenges? And one of the choices that we each make is whether or not to meet those challenges with a soft heart or a hard heart. And a lot of times we do get to our hard hearts, which is easy to do. And I may have even talked about this before, because when we hurt that bad, we shut down and we close off and we get hard. And then sometimes we start hurting other people in the way that we were hurt. And so it is quite a miracle to make the choice to remain soft and submissive. Islam is submission. And in this sense, I once had a friend, and we were talking about, I think I was complaining, God did this, God did that to me, or whatever, and he used the words slave, because quite often that submission, a Muslim will affectionately refer to himself as God's slave, or God's servant. And so my friend said, Allah does not damage His slaves. And just like that quote said, does not send down the sickness, but He sends the remedy. And again, that fits with all of my ideas about any kind of God. I'm not just applying that to Allah. It's all God to me. All life is God to me. But again, we're not here to be damaged, although we won't escape without some damage. But everything that comes to us, even though it may seem damaging, it is damaging. If we meet it with a soft heart, it also has gifts and treasures. And one way that this is said is, like, I think back on my life and the things that I went through, and each of you can do the same thing, what you've survived, what you've managed to come through. And maybe we have regrets, maybe we wish we could have gone another way, but a lot of us look back and say, I don't want to do that again, but if I hadn't gone that way, I wouldn't be who I am, or I wouldn't, have maybe a sense of patience, or a sense of compassion, or a sense of, had my eyes opened in certain ways or my mind opened in certain ways. And that comes through our experiences. And we don't have to have just horrible experiences, but it's kind of the way we imagine the experiences to be. It's like doing the dishes. You may not like doing the dishes, but nobody's telling you can't love it. Love doing the dishes. Love it. That's your choice. And having a lot of dishes to do means that you're eating. It's not a problem. The only reason it's a problem is because you think of it that way. And even things like death, like losing someone, nobody really wants to do that. But at the same time, death, like a death experience, can be a very beautiful thing. I know that, I participated. My husband passed away. This was 2005. And it was sad. And he was too young. And he was in pain. But he was not a person to be negative. He never was that person. And also, it was very beautiful. Everybody who came through and talked to him before he passed, everybody from his life who came and talked to him about how he'd influenced them, and the opportunity that I got to just lay by him, hold his hand, I sang. This was a beautiful experience, and it was part of life. It wasn't horrible. It was damage, and yet it wasn't damage, if you can see it. It's a paradox. And so, I guess my suggestion is next time you feel like the damage is there, or you feel like the sickness has come down, try to change your seeing just a little bit and try to see it as actually the remedy, or what is the remedy in it, or what remedy is coming. It may seem like a damage, but if it's coming toward you, what's the remedy? Like, yes, you lost your job, but does it mean that you can go on a new direction that's going to be more fulfilling for you? You know what I mean? Which is it? Is it the sickness or the remedy? And it's choose the way you see. And I haven't really talked about world peace with this, but it's kind of a peace that you have to have with yourself, to have that softness in your heart and to understand the remedies that are being offered you from life. And so I'll talk to you later.